reason this message has found you today, and it is not by accident. You have felt a stirring, a persistent knocking at the door of your consciousness, yet every time you move to answer it, the noise of the world rises up to drown it out. You are told that this message has been erased 4 times, but understand this clearly. Nothing is ever truly erased from the mind of God, which is your own wonderful human imagination. The erasure is merely your own forgetfulness, the moment when the senses assault you with facts and figures, and you drop the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You are the chosen one, not because a deity selected you from a lineup, but because you have chosen to awaken to the power within you. But this awakening requires stability. It requires a foundation that does not crumble when the winds of circumstance blow. If you feel that you are constantly taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back, losing grasp of your power, I invite you to explore the 3 keys to a prosperous life. This is not just a book, it is a trilogy. A complete map designed to help you awaken to who you really are, heal the invisible blocks that keep erasing your progress, and expand with stability. Whether you prefer reading the ebook or listening to the audiobook to absorb these truths on the go, this collection teaches you how to receive, sustain, and multiply your good without guilt. If you are ready to stop the cycle of forgetting and start living, you can find the link in the pinned comment or description below. Now, let us return to this final note that the world has tried to keep from you. The message is simple, yet it is the most difficult thing for the human mind to accept. You are the operant power, the cause of the confusion, the cause of the delay, and the cause of the erasure of your desires has never been a demon, a government, or a family member. It has been your own wavering attention. In Scripture, we often hear of the number 4, the 4 corners of the earth, the 4 winds. These represent the 4 senses that imprison you in the physical world. Sight, sound, touch, and the others, they scream at you. They tell you that you are poor, that you are lonely, that you are sick. And because you believe them, you erase the divine promise that was whispered in your heart during the silence. Consider the Archangel Michael. In the realm of the chosen, many look for Michael in the clouds, waiting for a warrior to descend with a sword of steel. But I tell you, Michael is a state of consciousness within you. His name asks the question, who is like God? And since God is your imagination, Michael is that disciplined faculty of attention that looks at the facts of life, the empty bank account, the diagnosis, the rejection, and dares to deny their final authority. Michael is the power in you that stands at the gate of your mind and says, I will not let these sensory facts erase my vision. Moody, when you summon this inner state, you are fighting the true spiritual war, which is never against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of your own doubts and fears. Why has the message been erased 4 times? Because 4 times you have likely planted a seed and then dug it up to see if it was growing. You assumed you were the person you wanted to be. You felt the relief of it. But then the phone rang with bad news or a bill arrived and you reacted. That reaction was the eraser. You returned to the state of the victim. The final note from the deep self, the God within, is a call to stop reacting and start creating. If this resonates with you, if you are tired of reacting to the world and ready to dictate it, express that commitment by liking this video. It is a small physical act that signals to your subconscious that you are ready to hold your ground. You must understand that God speaks to you through the language of desire. That burning hope you have, to be free, to be wealthy, to be loved, is not a temptation to be suppressed. It is the voice of the Creator telling you what is already yours in the unseen reality. When you doubt it, you are essentially telling God, you are a liar. This is the harsh truth. Every time you say, I can't afford it, or it's too late for me, you are taking the eraser to the divine script. But the script can be rewritten. We call this revision. Whatever happened yesterday that caused you to forget your power, you can change it now. Go back in your mind to the moment the bad news came, the moment the doubt crept in. Replay that scene, but this time, hear what you should have heard, see what you should have seen. Do not do this as a daydream, but as a labor of spiritual reality. Replace the erasure with a new, permanent engraving. The world is merely a mirror. It has no choice but to reflect what you are conscious of being. If the message of your greatness keeps disappearing, it is because you are not holding the mirror steady. You are shifting from the state of the chosen one back to the state of the forgotten one. You must learn to abide. To abide is to live in the end. It means you sleep tonight as though you are already the person you wish to be. You do not look for signs on the outside. The sign is your own internal peace. There is a silence that comes right before the manifestation, a Sabbath, where you no longer feel the anxiety of wanting because you have the satisfaction of having. This is the final note. It is not a shout, it is a deep, resonant knowing. It is the feeling of, it is done. And once you reach this state, no force in the universe, no four winds, no external circumstance can erase what you have appropriated. But how do you maintain this high watch when the dragons of the senses roar the loudest? How do you keep the feeling of the wish fulfilled when the entire world seems to conspire against your assumption? There is a specific way to use your evenings, a technique of the night that seals the instruction so deep that not even your waking doubts can touch it. This technique begins before your head hits the pillow, in that twilight zone between waking and sleeping, which the ancients called the state akin to sleep. It is here, in this drowsy drift, that the conscious mind, the guard at the gate, lowers its weapon, and the subconscious becomes wide open to suggestion. Most of the chosen ones lose the battle right here. They take the battles of the day, the arguments, the lack, and the fear into this sacred space. They fall asleep assuming the problems of the day are real, and by doing so, they instruct the God within to reproduce those problems tomorrow. You must stop this. You must treat the time before sleep as a divine court session where the verdict is always in your favor. To do this effectively, you must learn to detach from the sensory world completely. When you close your eyes, the room you are in ceases to exist. The bank balance ceases to exist. The diagnosis ceases to exist. You are simply I am. You are formless awareness. From this place of formlessness, you construct a short, single act that implies your wish is fulfilled. It might be the shaking of a hand, the feeling of a wedding ring on your finger, or simply the feeling of deep, ecstatic gratitude. You loop this action over and over again, not like a movie you are watching, but like an experience you are living. You do it until it takes on the tones of reality, until you slip from that imaginal act directly into the deep ocean of sleep. By doing this, you are sealing the instruction. You are telling the deeper self, this is who I am. And the deeper self, having no eyes for the outer world, accepts it as truth and begins the work of externalizing it. However, I know that for many of you, the noise of the world is deafening, and maintaining this state requires more than just a nightly attempt. It requires a fundamental restructuring of how you view your reality and your purpose. If you feel that you are constantly taking one step forward and two steps back, it is because you lack a stabilized foundation. To help you build this, I invite you to explore the 3 keys to a prosperous life. This is not just another book. It is a trilogy designed as a practical map for those who feel the call but struggle with the weight of it. Available as an e-book for those who study by sight and an audiobook for those who learn by hearing. This collection will guide you to awaken to who you really are, heal the invisible blocks that sabotage your harvest, and expand with stability so you can receive and sustain your blessings without guilt. If you are ready to stop wandering and start building, you can find the link to these keys in the pinned comment or description below. Returning to the silence of your room, you must understand that this practice of the night is your true spiritual warfare. When we speak of fighting against principalities, we are speaking of fighting against the fixed ideas in your mind that tell you failure is inevitable. The dragon described in Scripture is nothing more than the frozen past, your memory of past failures, past hurts, and past limitations, trying to drag you down into the pit of despair. The dragon eats your attention. It demands you look at it. It roars through the news, through the opinions of others, and through the evidence of your senses. But you, as the operant power, have a weapon. That weapon is your attention. You can turn your back on the dragon. This is where the concept of Archangel Michael becomes vital for you, not as a winged being in the clouds, but as a faculty within your own mind. Michael means, who is like God? He represents the power of disciplined attention that cuts away the dead wood of the past. When you sit to revise your day or to enter your state of sleep, you must invoke this Michael aspect of yourself. You use the sword of discrimination to sever your attachment to what happened during the day. If you had an argument, you use the sword to cut it from your memory and replace it with a scene of peace. If you received a bill you could not pay, you cut away the feeling of lack and replace it with the feeling of abundance. You do not ignore the facts of the world, but you deny them the power to dictate your tomorrow. If you are beginning to see that the angels are actually powers residing within your own imagination, waiting to be exercised, express that understanding by liking this video. It is a signal that you are ready to take command of your internal legions. Consider the story of the Annunciation, where the angel Gabriel comes to Mary. In the life of the chosen one, Gabriel represents the messenger of a new idea, a new desire that springs up in your heart. Suddenly you have a desire to start a business, or to heal a relationship, or to move to a new city. That desire is Gabriel speaking. It seems impossible because you are a virgin in regards to that state. You have no physical evidence, no money, no connections to make it happen. The logical mind asks, how can this be, seeing I know not a man? Meaning, how can this happen when I have no physical means? The answer is always the same. The Holy Spirit shall come upon thee, and the power of the Highest shall overshadow thee. This means that your imagination, the Holy Spirit, will embrace this desire, and if you accept it, if you say, "Be it unto me according to thy word," it will begin to grow within you. You do not need to know how. The how is not your responsibility. The how belongs to the wisdom of the deeper self, which knows 1,000 ways to bring something to pass where you see none. Your only job is to accept the seed, to nurture it in the silence of your consciousness, and to not dig it up with doubt. Every time you worry about how it will happen, you are aborting the seed. You must trust the gestation period. This gestation period is often what you call the wilderness. Many of you feel you are in the wilderness right now. You have left the old way of living, the slavery of Egypt, where you believed you were a victim of circumstances, but you have not yet entered the promised land of your manifestation. You are walking in the in-between. The senses show you nothing but dry sand. The old fears whisper that you should go back, that at least in the old life you knew what to expect. But this wilderness is necessary. It is the place where the old man dies so the new man can be born. It is where you learn to rely not on bread alone, not on money or jobs or people, but on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, which is your own imaginal activity. Do not curse the wilderness, bless it. It is purifying your dependence. It is teaching you that your security does not come from your employer, your spouse, or the government. Your security comes from your ability to contact the God within and appropriate what you need. If you are walking through this desert with your head held high, knowing that the promised land is a state of mind, before it is a place on earth, comment, "I am walking by faith," below. Let your declaration stand as a testament to your endurance. Now, let us deepen the technique of the night. When you lie down, you may feel the dragons of anxiety circling. This is the moment to put on the whole armor of God. Again, this is not a physical suit of metal, but a psychological adjustment. The helmet of salvation is the disciplining of your thoughts, protecting your head, your mind, from the arrows of negativity. The shield of faith is your refusal to accept the evidence of the senses as final. When the world says it is incurable, the shield of faith says, I am the Lord that healeth thee. You deflect the arrow. You do not let it penetrate your feeling state. There is a specific practice I want you to try tonight. It is the practice of eavesdropping. Imagine that you are hearing two people discussing you. These could be friends, family members, or colleagues. Imagine them talking about your success, your health, or your transformation with awe and happiness. Hear them say, I can't believe how much she has changed. Or have you heard the good news about him? Listen to their voices, make it vivid, hear the tone of their surprise and their joy. By doing this, you are using others as witnesses to your new state. You are not trying to influence them. You are using their imagined voices to convince yourself. If you can hear them confirming your success in your imagination, you have successfully planted the seed. Why does this work? Because your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a physical conversation and an imaginal one. If you react to the imaginal conversation with a feeling of relief and pride, the subconscious accepts it as a fact that must be externalized. You will find that shortly after doing this, people in your physical world will begin to reflect these conversations. They will say the things you imagined them saying. They are the messengers, the echoes of your own inner speech. But you must remain faithful to this inner drama. You cannot do this technique at night and then spend your day complaining about how people treat you. That is double-mindedness, and let not that man think he shall receive anything of the Lord. You must watch your inner speech during the day as a cat watches a mouse. Every time you catch yourself mentally arguing with someone, or justifying your failures, or rehearsing a tragedy, stop. Stop immediately. That is the old man trying to breathe. Do not give him breath. Revise that thought instantly. Rewrite the script in the moment. If you imagine a friend criticizing you, immediately rewind the tape in your mind and hear them congratulating you instead. This is how you pray without ceasing. Prayer is not begging God to change his mind. God is your own wonderful human imagination, and he has no mind to change other than the one you give him. Prayer is the act of appropriating the state you desire. It is stepping into the shoes of the person you want to be and wearing them until they fit. When you beg, you are affirming lack. You are saying, I do not have this. And the law of your being responds, you are right, you do not have it, and gives you more of not having it. But when you give thanks, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are saying, I have it. And the law responds, you are right, you have it, and brings it into your world. This is the great secret of the chosen ones. You were not chosen by an external deity who sits on a cloud and picks favorites. You chose yourself when you decided to wake up to the power of your own consciousness. You are chosen because you have accepted the responsibility of being a creator. The rest of the world is content to be a creature, reacting to the weather, the economy, and the news. But you have stepped out of that line. You have decided to be the cause, not the effect. This is a lonely path at first, because you can no longer blame anyone for your life. You cannot blame your parents, your boss, or the devil. You look in the mirror and you see the only cause. This responsibility is heavy, but it is the only path to true freedom. If you are ready to shoulder this responsibility and wear the mantle of the Creator, consider sharing this message with someone else who is waking up. The law of receiving is giving. As you give this truth to others, you solidify it within yourself. Let us speak for a moment about the signs. Many of you are obsessed with looking for signs. You do your imaginal work, and then you open your eyes and look for a text message, or a check in the mail, or a change in a person's behavior. When you don't see it immediately, you despair. You must understand, the signs follow, they do not precede. The first sign is always internal. It is a feeling of peace, a feeling of, it is done. It is the Sabbath. If you are anxiously looking for signs on the outside, it is proof that you have not yet accepted it on the inside. You do not look for your keys when you are holding them in your hand. You do not look for confirmation that you are in a room when you are sitting in it. When you have truly entered the state of the wish fulfilled, the anxiety vanishes, the desperate need vanishes. You might still want it, but the hunger is gone because you have eaten the spiritual substance of the thing. You have possessed it in consciousness. This is the state of the Sabbath, spiritual rest. God rested on the seventh day not because he was tired, but because the work was finished. When you reach this inner Sabbath, you can go about your day without worry, knowing that the bridge of incidents is being built, brick by brick, by a power greater than your conscious mind. Sometimes this bridge of incidents looks like a disaster. You might lose your job. You might be evicted. You might have a breakup. The old man panics and says, it's not working, everything is falling apart. But the new man, the chosen one, sees with spiritual eyes. He understands that in order for the new structure to be built, the old structure must be demolished. If you asked for a new, magnificent career, losing your current, limiting job might be the first inevitable step. Do not judge by appearances. Do not react to the demolition. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Hold your ground, maintain your assumption. The universe is rearranging itself to fit your new concept of self. It is a fluid, malleable thing, but it requires your stability. If you change your mind every time the wind blows, the universe remains chaotic. You must be the rock. You must be the anchor. This is what it means to have the faith of a mustard seed. It is not about the size of the faith, but the quality of it. A mustard seed knows it is a mustard seed. It does not worry that it might grow into a cactus. It has a definite fixed plan within it. You must be that definite. Know what you want, assume you have it, and let the world conform to you. There is a beautiful mystery in the name of God. I am. It is a present tense verb. It is not I was or I will be. It is I am. When you say I will be wealthy, you are confessing that you are not wealthy now. You are keeping the wealth in the future, and the future never comes. It is always just out of reach like a carrot on a stick. You must bring the future into the present. You must dare to say and feel, I am wealthy, even when your pockets are empty. This feels like a lie to the senses, but it is the truth to the spirit. And as you persist in this lie, it hardens into fact. The soft clay of your imagination hardens into the rock of reality. Remember the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. He wrestled all night until the break of day, and he would not let go until the angel blessed him. This is you. The angel is your desire, your ideal state. You wrestle with it against the doubts of the night. You hold on to it. You do not let it go until it blesses you, until you feel the reality of it, until your name is changed from Jacob, the supplanter, to Israel, he who rules as God. This wrestling match happens in the silence of your mind. It is unseen by the world, but the victor walks with a new limp, a new humility and power, because he has touched the divine. So tonight, do not just go to sleep. Go to the throne. Enter the Holy of Holies within yourself. Leave the shoes of your problems at the door. This is holy ground. Clothe yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Wrap it around you like a warm blanket. If your mind wanders, bring it back with the gentle hand of a shepherd, bringing back a stray sheep. Do not beat the sheep, just bring it back. Do this 70 times, 7 times if necessary. Eventually the mind will surrender. It will lie down in green pastures. It will accept the new state. And you will slip into the deep, healing waters of sleep, knowing that you have set the coordinates for your tomorrow. And as you wake in the morning, do not pick up the old heavy garment of the victim. Leave it on the floor. Put on the new man again. Walk through your day. looking for the evidence of your success, not the evidence of your failure. Be a detective of the good. If you do this, if you persist in this, I promise you the windows of heaven will open, and you will receive a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive. The dragons will bow, the lions will close their mouths, and the world will reflect the glory of the God who lives within you. If this message has added a brick to your spiritual foundation, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, for we are building a temple here, not made of hands, but of understanding. Share this with those who are ready to hear. And remember, the only time you have is now, and the only power you need is I am. But this power is not a force that fights against flesh and blood. It is the quiet, unwavering authority of your own consciousness. When you understand that I am is the only reality, you stop fighting the shadows on the wall, and you begin to change the slide in the projector. Many of you who feel this calling, who feel set apart, often believe you are engaged in a war with external darkness. You look at the world and see obstacles, people who oppose you, or circumstances that seem to block your path. But I tell you, there is no one to change but self. The world is a mirror, vast and ruthless in its honesty. If you see a frown in the mirror, you cannot force the reflection to smile by hitting the glass. You must smile first. You must change your conception of yourself, and then, by a law as immutable as gravity, the world must reflect that change. This journey of awakening to your own creative power is not always easy. It requires a restructuring of the mind, a cleansing of old beliefs that have held you captive for years. If you feel that you are ready to accelerate this process, to truly understand the mechanics of how to receive, sustain, and multiply your good without the heavy burden of guilt, I want to share a resource with you. It is called The 3 Keys to a Prosperous Life. This is a trilogy, available as an ebook for those who love to study the written word, and an audiobook for those who prefer to listen and absorb. It's designed as a practical map for the chosen ones to dissolve invisible blocks and stand firm in their new identity. If you feel a resonance with this teaching, if you are ready to stabilize your expansion, check the link in the pinned comment or description below. It is there for you when you are ready to take that step. Now let us return to this inner architecture. When we speak of the chosen ones, we are speaking of those who have reached a point of spiritual maturity where the outer world no longer satisfies them. You hunger for something real. You may have heard of Archangel Michael, the great warrior who defeats the dragon. In the scriptures of your soul, Michael is not a being outside of you. Michael represents your capacity for disciplined attention. He is the aspect of your imagination that can look at the facts of life, the empty bank account, the medical report, the loneliness, and deny their final authority. The dragon is the accumulation of your sensory evidence, the fears that roar at you, claiming to be the only reality. To summon Michael is to withdraw your attention from the evidence of the senses and place it entirely on your desired state. It is an act of radical focus. You take the sword of your imagination and you cut the head off the dragon by simply refusing to feed it with your attention. You starve the problem by feasting on the solution. This is the true spiritual warfare. It is not shouting at the dark. It is lighting a lamp. When you light a lamp, the darkness does not fight back. It simply vanishes. It ceases to be. So when you feel under attack, ask yourself, what am I conscious of being? If you are conscious of being attacked, you will manifest more conflict. If you are conscious of being secure, the enemy will fade away or be transformed into a friend. Consider the mystery of the messenger. In the ancient texts, angels are messengers. But what is a message? It is an idea, a desire that springs up in your heart. When you have a burning desire to be something, to be a healer, a teacher, a wealthy benefactor, that desire is the angel Gabriel appearing to Mary. Mary is your imagination, the receptive womb of your mind. The angel says, "Hail, highly favored one." It announces that you are going to give birth to a new state. Do not ask, "How can this be, seeing I know not a man?" Do not ask for the physical means. The man represents the external cause. You do not need an external cause. You only need the Holy Spirit, which is your own focused intent, to overshadow you. Accept the desire as a promise from your greater self. Say yes to it. Say, "Be it unto me according to thy word." This is the Immaculate Conception. You conceive the idea of wealth or health without the aid of natural means. You simply assume the feeling of it. You nurture it in the silence of your heart. You do not expose it to the skepticism of the world before it is born. You keep the secret. And in due time, that invisible state will become a visible fact. If this interpretation of the angels resonates with your spirit, if it brings the power back into your own hands, I invite you to click the like button. It is a small gesture, but it signals to the universe and to the algorithm that you are aligning with this truth. But you might ask, "Neville, how do I maintain this feeling when the world screams the opposite?" This is the great work. This is why you are here. It is easy to feel wealthy when your pockets are full. It is easy to feel healthy when you are pain-free. But the master of the law, the one who truly knows who he is, can feel wealthy when the pockets are